strippers, new killers, shy niggas tell them.
All right, what's up, guys? This is 1420. I don't know, fashion, something on the podcast. You know what I mean. Today here we got Jacob Day. You know, say what's up.
Hi.
And then we also got the bro Sam over here.
Good.
You know, so basically we're all three different kinds of resellers. We got one who, you know, I used to resell Supreme clothing, all of that. We got an active clothing vintage reseller right here, and then we also have an actor sneaker reseller right over here with Sam. So, you know, wanted to have them all on, kind of discuss our different experiences with reselling and, you know, where it might go to. So first off, like, I don't know, how y'all doing with the reselling right now?
Sam, you go first.
I feel like there's always stuff going on, but at the same time, like, there's always something more you can be doing. Like, I always catch myself like slacking on a certain thing, whether it's like online orders or like posting stuff locally, or I don't know, just organizing, keeping up with my inventory. There's always something to be doing, but I don't know, I like to slack. But it's getting more and more popular. Like, every year there's more and more people buying shoes. Like, I feel like every girl needs a pair of Dunks nowadays, so it's like
Get tripped out.
there's no lack of demand, so you can just, I don't know, it's always there, but it's really about how much work you put into it. So I don't know, I slack a lot, so it doesn't. Some days are really slow just because I make it that way, but
Yeah. No.
Jacob, how you doing with this Depop shit right now?
Bro, Depop sucks right now. Oh my god. They have been, a part of my language, they've been fucking over their sellers. I know guys that have like dropped down from 50th highest ranked Depop sellers in the world, now they're like 5,000. They've been fucking people. But also, like, Depop is good. Let me tell you all about it a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know. Depop, I've been like slacking on my Depop too. I totally feel like what you were saying with like, you always feel like there's more that you can be doing. Isn't it like stressful?
it's
like,
not even stressful. It's just like I don't feel like
oh no,
it's
for
like
me,
boring. It's like,
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to do this again. Like, I don't like doing inventory. Like,
Yeah, I
it's
do.
so- It's so
I
tedious.
feel, no, there's always, I always feel like, oh man, I should be like updating my shop. I should be going out and thrifting. And it's like, oh man, it like gets really stressful. But also, I don't know, it's fun. I feel like it's a lot less, like stressful than sneaker reselling because the margins are a lot lower and I'm not dealing with like as high stake stuff and I don't have to hustle to get like my inventory as much as like I feel like you do. And
But
shit.
I feel like it's like such a pain in the ass to like post tons of clothes every single. Like, I hate posting stuff. That's what I hate the most. So like, if you post like hundreds of shirts a week, like,
it's like meditative for me. I have like a
could never.
system. I have like a little studio set up in my basement. I just like put on a podcast and I can whip out like 100 listings in like maybe 2 hours. It's really, it's like fun for me. I don't know. I'm like that kind of person that can just like do one thing for like a long time as long as I'm like listening to like some music or like a podcast and shit and just sort of have all my like gears firing at once. It's a fun time.
I should really be posting like my stuff like 3 to 4 times a week probably, but it's usually like once every 2 weeks that I actually like sit down and post.
Yeah,
all
I
my
feel.
stuff just because I'm lazy to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sam, something I wanted to bring up is like you're big on selling on like Snapchat.
Yeah.
Right. So like, compared to like Instagram selling and posting on there, like how has that helped either like speed up the process or how has it differed from like Instagram?
So Instagram is like, I don't know. I use Instagram as like my buying platform. So like I have a network on there with like a ton of other big resellers from around the country. It's less like individual buyers. So I just find stuff to buy in there and then I'll sell it on my Snapchat, which is a lot more like non-resellers who are willing to pay more because I upcharge pretty high. So the people on my Instagram won't necessarily like pay that high number, but like all the locals and people who just want shoes will pay whatever. So that's why I use Snapchat more than Instagram, just because I have more of those people on there.
That's awesome.
I've never heard of Snapchat reselling. Is that like a thing?
It's like, it's became more popular
Really?
recently. I've been doing it for a while, but I used to do it in like middle school when I had just a couple pairs because I didn't have an Instagram to sell on. But then it turned into like, okay, well, I'm getting mentioned every single time I sell someone's shoes, and then I get like 20 ads. So it's like,
Damn.
it
That's
stacks
smart.
up, and then I have, okay, a couple thousand people on my private story, and then it's like, okay, well, then people are buying every single time I post a shoe. So, I mean, it works out, and it kind of like, got my local name out there more, and then obviously all those people go and follow my Instagram. But it's easier just to post them on Snapchat than to deal with DMs and stuff too.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
That's cool.
Easily. Do you have to run that risk about like your Snapchat getting deleted and like people?
I
like,
worry about that because I've seen a lot of people's Snapchats get deleted, but I'm not really sure. I think it has something to do with like posting prices or like shout out for shout out or something. So I'm like, I have a
Okay.
backup Snapchat,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously not everyone's gonna add that, even if I tell them to.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be too hard to like get all those people back because they all know each other. So I just have one.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be too hard, but it'd be a pain in the ass to deal with for sure.
For sure. Does Snapchat you think help you grow like your like reselling WI platform a lot, or more just like you just as a guy selling clothes?
A lot of the people on my Snapchat like go and follow my Instagram, but I think I have my own separate connects through Instagram. Like all the resellers don't have me on Snapchat, they just know me from Instagram. So like they'll post me and we'll grow from there. But I don't know. I feel like it's two different groups of people for the most part. I mean, some people follow both, but it's usually one or the other.
For sure. And same with Jacob, like with the, like Depop and like, do you have different connections from there than like connections you make on Instagram through like that kind of interest in?
Oh,
reselling
it's
all that?
weird. Like I have no connections in like the local vintage community. They don't know me for that at all because I don't even I don't even use Instagram for that shit because I don't know, like I work like another job. I've got like my whole stylist thing going on. And so starting like an Instagram page for like my like thrifting reselling business, I feel like would commit me too much to that. And, you know, I know guys like their heart and soul is with vintage and they have a lot more connections. They buy a lot more shit than I do. And I just feel like me starting like a Instagram like thrifting reselling page would take like a little bit of like authenticity out of like what I do just because, you know, my heart is really with like designer fashion and yada, yada, yada. Like I still love vintage like with all my heart, but I really like sticking with Depop just because it really does help my exposure a lot. People can just sort of find me when they're looking for like t-shirts or maybe I get on the explore page. I have like a couple followers on there, but mostly people in Wisconsin and like the local vintage communities don't really know me for my thrifting page because I don't have an Instagram thrifting presence, which I think is really interesting because it like it hasn't really hurt my business at all. It's weird. I feel like me starting a thrifting page would help, but the payoff for like all that shit and all the extra work it would be doing, I feel like wouldn't really be worth it because like the amount of sales that I'm able to make on like Depop or Grailed would sort of like even it out a lot more. It's like I'm in like sort of like a weird situation where like it's a little bit more unique than other like resellers in the game right now.
I feel like you have to pick a platform and commit to it because I feel like it works way better than just trying to juggle like 5 different platforms. Like I don't know, like I've tried to sell on eBay and like Depop. I've sold stuff on Depop before, but like I don't know, I feel like sticking to one thing, like it's hard to balance Snapchat and Instagram and other platforms and like expect to like get everything posted and keep up with all this, because if you post everything on there, stuff's gonna fly and it's really hard to keep up with that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You have to like delete it over like all the platforms.
Exactly.
That's
and then
hard
you
to keep up with.
oversell stuff, and then I feel like you also can't just enjoy your like I like to just go out and just chill. Like I don't like to just focus on reselling 24/7. So it's like I don't know, it's a pain in the ass to like juggle all of that, I feel like.
Yeah.
Kind of like building a different portfolio on like each platform.
Yeah, that happens to me when I post stuff on like I used to post all my items on Depop and Grailed. So much extra work for not enough payout.
You have to like cancel orders when stuff sells.
Cancel orders when stuff sells out. You have to like Grailed and Depop are also like so much different. You can't like update your items all the time and shit like that. Prices and markets are different, so like I'd be losing a lot of money too, and also like I'd overcharge on shit just because I didn't do enough market research on like the items. It was rough, and it was just so much extra work for like maybe like a couple extra sales.
No, you're right. All right, next, let's go around kind of talking about we got in this shit.
You should start.
I'll start first. So, like, man, I want to give a big shout out to, like, Zach Mueller, bro, because, like, that dude was always wearing Supreme while doing his cardistry shit that, like, and playing Earl sweatshirts. So, like, no, that dude, like, actually put me on, like, a lot of, like, kind of what I grew up as, you know. I saw Supreme, I'm like, yo, wait, these motherfuckers making this much money. These people are like buying this much for clothes. And I think everyone goes through that phase where you look at Supreme and you're like, you laugh at it. You're like, bro, why would you pay this much for this or like this? And then you're like, wait, yo, low key, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Pick up on it. And I think, yo, I sold a Playboy Supreme beanie to Isaac at school. And I saw the money in my hand. I'm like, oh shit, yo, I could do this shit for real. You know what I mean? And then I think I just kind of got caught up with, you know, how the whole algorithm works, you know, bots, anything necessary to get the shit I needed. And then shit, I just like Supreme, you know what I mean? I'll still wear some of their stuff, like only cool pieces though, but it was definitely fun back in the day for sure. And then like, yeah, all that. Jacob, what about you real quick?
Yeah, I got into like early fashion YouTube. If anyone out there knows, like I talked about this on the podcast that I did with you guys a couple months ago, but I started watching like Magnus Ronning and like Jacob Wallace, Fernando Rangel, a very niche community out there, but I know there's a couple of you in Milwaukee that know who they are, but I noticed that they were able to buy like this really expensive like designer and archive clothing. And I realized that people were only buying it from them just because they knew who they were and that they had a platform. And so I was like, okay, I want to build up a platform for myself so that if I ever buy designer, I could sell it really easily. And I was also really into clothing really early on. So I was buying up like the cheaper vintage pieces so that I could have like a pretty okay wardrobe just so I could like, you know, dress myself a little bit more. And then it just sort of grew a lot. I kind of made I made 100 sales in the first like maybe 2 years that I did it. And then when quarantine hit, I was like, I've got nothing better to do. So I would like go out, I would hit the thrifts, and I discovered Loveless Vintage, if you guys know who that is. He's a very popular reseller and he makes like videos on how to do Depop. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to get serious about Depop. And then he was like, all right, I just post 6 items a day, just stay consistent. And so that's what I did, 6 items a day for 5 months. And it grew my page so much. And then I got verified on Depop. I started doing like the little vintage garage sales. And I mean, yeah, it all just grew out of a love for like just clothing in general. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a different like come up story because it didn't really grow out of a love for vintage clothes, but I mean, I still really do love it. But yeah, that's my story.
Awesome. And Sam, how'd you get in this piece?
Similar to you, I feel like I just loved shoes like in elementary school and middle school. Like I remember my old idol was like Benjamin Kicks and
the goat.
Kicks.
Yeah,
and I remember I would watch all of like Kai Somar, Blazendary, literally all of them.
Take me back.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I would watch all of their videos like every single day. And then I started like I bought a few pairs for myself like with my Christmas menu or something. So like I was in like what, 7th grade, and then like I don't know, I would get sick of them and then I would just like figure out how to let them go, and I would just post them on my Snapchat with just having like my school friends on it. And then stuff would move surprisingly. And then I remember, I think Supreme Steels Wisconsin. Somehow I DM'd you guys or something like, we talked about something, and then that was like one of the first local resellers I had ever connected with. So I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, maybe I should try this. And then like, another friend of mine that I don't talk to anymore, but he was like, you should start like a reselling Instagram to post your shoes on, not just Snapchat. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll try that. So I created the page called Sinful Sam. I don't know if you remember that.
No, yeah. I do remember that.
And that like that was before everyone was reselling on Instagram. So that was like stuff was flying surprisingly. I don't know, it used to be way easier. Now it's like super saturated, but it started with that, and then I took a 2-year break. I got sent to boarding school, but then I came back, and it was kind of like hard to get back into because the market had changed so much. Like when we went to MSX, none of that, all that stuff would used to move like back in the day, but none of it would really move anymore because it was just so saturated. But then when COVID hit, I kind of like, I was doing a meetup with this dude from, I want to say Germantown or something, and he was like, you should try bricks. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, and then he explained to me how like instead of putting so much money into like one shoe for like a $50 margin, put like a tenth of that into like a bunch of different pairs and then make the same margin, like paying super cheap for like a ton of like Nike runners or something from the outlet and then making like the same amount per pair. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try that. And then I just started going hard with that. And that's kind of like when I actually started like taking reselling like serious and moving quantity, when I started realizing that it's not about like, when I started realizing that like I don't have to pay so much to make like a certain amount, like I can find it for way cheap. Like, I was just being smarter with my money, and then it kind of just like grew from there. And then reselling in Wisconsin started like growing more during quarantine too.
Oh yeah, yeah, so easily.
Yeah.
So how how do I say this? Kind of being gone for those 2 years and like seeing how, you know, the market was back then to like kind of what you got into and like, you know, the quantity aspect of it. Like what kind of changes did you have to make other than like buying bricks instead of big pieces, but like kind of to actually, you know, keep it moving and like not just make a couple sales, you're dead for a bit.
Yeah, I had to adjust to like what people wanted. Like,
okay,
when I first got back, I was kind of just buying whatever I thought was a good price, but then I realized that like used Jordans don't sell for shit anymore. Like used Yeezys don't sell for shit anymore. Like everyone wants like unless you're selling used for cheap, people want brand new. Like I had to like I just had to figure out what worked for me and then like go hard with that. Like I only sell brand new shoes just because used wasn't really working for me because I tried to charge too much and people weren't paying it.
That makes sense.
I don't know. People are always like changing what they want too. So like for a while it was like Jordan 1s and then it's like now it's like Jordan 4s and Dunks and stuff. So now I'm like I just focus heavy on like the certain styles that are like super popular, and
you've got to know what sells for you specifically.
So I know like grade school Dunks, grade school Jordan 4s will fly for me, like because I have so many girls that are like wanting to buy shoes every single week. Like,
oh, I've never thought of that. Like the smaller sizes, that's genius, dude.
Because I know smaller sizes like they sell for more and they sell quickly, but I didn't really understand why.
Yeah,
you know,
and you can just like, I don't know. StockX is like losing its rep for authenticity.
Oh
nowadays.
my god, yeah.
So like people aren't even like going off of StockX, and they're willing to pay $20-$40 more than StockX to get like something that day that is 100% like that they know is legit. Like that they can see in person, they can hold it in person before they buy. So like, I don't know, I can get away with like charging that extra few bucks because people are willing to pay that to get their shoes like same day and stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
I don't know, but grade school everything moves really fast.
Damn.
But then I don't know. All like Jordan 4s, 1s, Yeezys sell in men's sizes too, but I get a lot of grade school. Just because girls love that shit.
Yeah.
And Jacob, with you, you know, you did probably vintage selling for a couple years now.
Yeah.
What'd you have to do to kind of make sure that you were selling more? Kind of what'd you have to look for and all that to.
So you know how Kanye made 5 beats a day for 3 summers?
Yeah.
6 items a day for 1 summer, baby. That's the grind. That's the grind. 6 to 9 to even 12 items a day for 1 full summer. I mean, that's just how it happened for me. Every single day, I would get off my shift at Sendik's Food Markets. Know that. Big shout. And I'd hit up the local thrifts. I would just go. I'd buy as much shit as I could. Anything that was single stitch, anything on a good tag that I knew. I bought a lot of garbage that I still have. I can't believe the shit that I've bought, but it's all about just getting it out there, posting. I started modeling the items. It's all about just knowing it's all about just adapting. I'm a big adapter. That's what I've learned about myself. So for a while there, I was taking measurements of my items. That was taking too long, so I stopped doing that. I started taking pictures of flat lays. As soon as that started not selling for me as well, I started modeling the items. I started modeling them outside. As soon as that started slowing down, I started modeling them inside. Then I got lighting setups. You know, it was just all about knowing how to make my page look more official. And obviously, while I was doing that, I was hitting the bins. I was buying some bulk. I was just doing whatever I could to get my pieces in. And you know, that's just all I was doing. Just staying consistent is easily the biggest thing about vintage. My biggest advice to any like vintage people out there who was trying to get on Depop It's better to post every single day than just post all your items at once, and make sure you are updating your shop. That is the biggest thing. It takes a while. It sucks. But the only reason I stayed consistent was because I was updating my shop that had like 400 items on it. I would update that when I woke up at 4 p.m. and before I went to bed. It would take me like 3 hours a day in total, but I would do it, and that's how I was making my sales. And you got to ship every day. It's a big grind, but it's worth it because like the money you make is pretty good. It's fun. You've got to have a legitimate passion for it. And I mean, I feel like I had a passion for like just the sort of vintage reselling, you know. It also made me feel like an adult. I don't know. Like I was able to do something that was like, I was in my room. I was like listening to music. I was packaging up my shit. I would like say what's up to my parents, and they just seemed proud of me because they were like, man, my son's really a small business owner, you know?
Yeah.
It made me feel great. And like, that's where the motivation came from, knowing that like, damn, doing this makes me feel like I have my life together.
I feel like that if you don't buy a bunch of bullshit like at least once, you never know like what actually works for you. Like I still have stuff that I bought last summer. Like
it's all about
and it
trying
is what it
shit
is.
out.
Exactly. Like I don't know. I feel like that's the only way you actually get good at it.
Yeah,
like,
you can't be afraid to make mistakes
exactly.
in any
That's
business.
you just have to be able to adjust from it.
Exactly.
But
It's all
that
about
goes into
adapting.
what you were saying. You have to have a passion about it. I feel like so many people like try to resell because of the money, and it
It's
doesn't work.
if you do it because
It
of the
won't
money,
work,
people are
yeah.
gonna see right
They're
through
gonna
that.
give up.
Yeah.
And plus, they won't even like know, you know, what they're selling. They're just like, oh, going
Yeah.
off all like, yeah, you do need that knowledge to. before
If you do it
going,
because of the
for
money, it's
sure.
gonna be hard to stay consistent.
Exactly.
And you can tell when people don't actually know what they're doing. Like
Yeah, because
Oh
then you
my
can finesse them.
God.
Yeah.
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 And people just the way they like. It's like even goes down to like the wording. You can just tell when someone's not actually like does not know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I can
Yeah.
tell that someone doesn't know what they're doing in vintage because of the prices that they charge.
Bro, the
Yeah.
amount
Vintage
of
prices are
DMs.
fucking disgusting now. You're a piece of garbage if you upcharging your vintage. We all know you got it for like 1 penny, dog. Don't be ridiculous.
That's the thing. I remember all these DMs like to Supreme Steels talking about, yo, I just got this item, was hoping to sell it. Like, what do you think I could sell it for? Like, they'll just buy any
Yeah.
item with the brand or the
Yeah, no.
this tag, this design on it. They had no idea. And it's just
No,
like, look,
yeah.
you gotta know a little something if you want to
Yeah.
like.
One
if
thing
you
that
wanna-
grew my page is because I'm very proud of the fact that I don't tax. I would charge very, very cheap for all my items. Like everyone talks about like how expensive items are on Depop, and they're true because they're looking at the wrong pages.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Depop has this amazing shipping policy where their shipping costs are less than what USPS usually charges, and it's very easy to ship with Depop. And so because of that, you're able to lower your prices a lot. And so I would charge maybe like $10 shipped for a t-shirt. I'd charge like these disgustingly low prices, and people would just buy it. And that's how I grew my page, because I realized I'm paying nothing for these items because I'm going out and I'm thrifting.
Yeah.
And the appeal of vintage is because now I feel like the appeal of like sneaker reselling is because, oh, I couldn't get this pair, so I have to buy it resell. The appeal of vintage is, oh, I don't want to go out and thrift because it's gross and it's disgusting and it's a lot of like work to actually
Takes a
get
lot
it.
of time.
Yeah, it's a lot. I feel like getting sneakers is a lot more luck, and getting like finding vintage is a lot more just like
Yeah.
grunt work. Would you say?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, a lot of resellers know how to like secure shoes, but if you were to like someone who was just buying for yourself, it's really hard to like touch the item for sure.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so for that shit, like people are charging like $30 for like a single stitch tee that's just nothing. And so I realized, okay, let's swallow our pride a little bit and charge low prices and lower the margins. And because of that, it really was quantity over quality. That's how I kind of grew a lot. But I mean, eventually all that quantity, like it added up to a solid amount, and that's how I grew. You know?
Easily. All right, real break. Aaron, Joe is outside. Would you be able to let him in real fast? Something I wanted to ask you guys even is like, how would you say what kind of things that you guys have to do to like kind of build your page in a way where it's like, because something I look at big reseller pages is kind of they have that what's that saying, that kind of that authenticity, that word that they're selling good shit, so they're able to kind of tax higher and all that.
They have their niche.
Yeah, they have their niche and all that. I guess since you got like low prices.
Only
and all
steals.
that. Only steals.
Only
And
steals.
that's something like I did. I did like Supreme's like steals. I tried selling at like low prices, and like you got that whole I got all these shoes for you and all that. So what'd you guys like? I guess what steps did you have to take to kind of prove like the niche that you were filling, and like why you should shop with me? Grow your brand and all that. Like,
I feel like I may charge like, I don't know, 20, even 40 sometimes over other resellers, but at the same time, like, for me to get to like the place I work for people to buy at that price, it's kind of like you just had to prove that you had like quantity. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like people weren't taking me serious for a while, and then I proved to them that I just started buying like, I don't know if you remember that photo with all the mids last summer, like 300 pairs, like whatever, by my garage, right?
Yeah.
People kind of like saw that and were like, okay, like he actually like does this shit, like. And then it was kind of like word of mouth. Like, I make sure people mention me on Snapchat or Instagram whenever like they buy something. So people are like, oh, my friend shops with him. Okay, well then that's who I should go with too. Like, if they trust him, I trust him too. Like, and it just like adds up. Like people like it just continues coming in, and then eventually you have like a bunch of people who are like consistently only looking at your stuff because they like you're their guy type thing. Like.
Yeah, for
they
sure.
only hit you when they need something compared to like the other resellers that may charge a little less on their Snapchats and stuff. Because I know I'm not the only person that people have on like added that's a reseller. Like, there's plenty of other ones that may charge less, but people just know like, I don't know.
You're their guy.
Yeah,
You're that
exactly.
guy.
Loyalty.
And I appreciate when people are loyal. Like I have certain customers that have spent like thousands just with me. Like, and that kind of like. Yeah. That really like helps my business, like consistent people that don't like jump around, even if they have to pay an extra $10, $20 from time to time.
Yeah. Would you say you have like kind of clients, big customers, like returning customers, all that?
I have a lot of returning customers. Okay. They may not drop like a ton at a time, but they'll consistently buy a pair every couple weeks, every week.
Which is good.
That adds up. So
for sure.
I'd rather have that than like one person who drops a ton like every year or some shit like. Because consistency is really important.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously with like JD's Vintage, it's a little different on Depop, kind of being a little like shop.
With Depop, but it's also and like with like the garage sales and shit, and sort of just like my online presence, it's just you gotta have no shame about what you're doing, It's just be a fucking clown. Who cares? None of this shit's real. And so who cares if you're out there yelling on your videos and shit? I don't know. Keep it light. It's not that deep. None of this is that deep, but
ever.
I mean, it's also just my low prices. I actually don't get a lot of returning customers. I think that's literally because I don't have an Instagram presence with like the vintage shit. But I mean, if it works, it works, I
mean, that's kind of like the trade-off though, because you can charge low, so regardless. I feel like if I don't know. Some people like aren't willing to pay that price because they don't know me and they don't know like how far I've come and like like a lot of these people have been with me for a long time, and obviously I have a ton of new people who come in like every month, every week. But I don't know. A lot of people have seen me grow like throughout the years or whatever, so they can appreciate it. So they're willing to pay that price. And then obviously like returning customers get discounts. Like I don't. Of course, like I take care of people like when they are consistent, because.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but like sometimes like I feel like with brand new shit, especially like. It's not easy to get all the time. I have to pay like high for certain stuff, which is why I have to like upcharge too, because sometimes I'm paying like StockX prices for certain shoes just so I can get it for them like when they want it. So of course I have to charge more, but I don't know. People don't really like trip over anything. So
yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Do y'all got any like out of the ordinary like sales stories either?
Oh my
media
God, yeah.
Or just like local? Because I'm trying to hear from y'all. Like
someone offered me. Last summer, I posted a bunch of shoes on Facebook Marketplace just to see how it would go. I don't really fuck with Facebook Marketplace, but
Facebook Market sneaker Milwaukee is funny, bro. It's funny.
Someone offered me an 18-foot snake for a pair of Jordan 1 mids.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, take that deal. Are you kidding
What am I
me?
gonna do with the 18-foot snake?
You're gonna have an 18-foot snake.
Where the
That's
fuck
what
am I
you're
supposed to put that shit? He just had the snake. He sent me a photo. Let me see if I might
take the 18-foot snake. That's the coolest thing
I'm gonna
ever.
look for the screenshots.
Think of the product shots you could have with that thing.
Yeah, but like, where am I supposed to put an 18-foot snake?
In the crib. In the crib.
So you gotta have the snake skins with the 18-foot
Exactly.
You got the product photos like that. You gonna be
18-foot.
Wait, but like, what mids were they though?
For mids, dude.
Like, they were
white
mids.
heel mids, like the Chicago mids. So like they were like the best mids.
All right,
But, like, still-
An 18-foot snake for mids.
He's like, "Are you taking trades?" And I'm like, "Sure," because I thought he was gonna offer me like a shoe or something. He's like, "I have a snake," and I'm like,
Yes.
Shit, what that snake run up
God.
at though?
Yeah,
Like, how much
probably
is that?
expensive, but
Bro, only in Milwaukee.
Only
Am
in
I
Milwaukee.
right?
Facts.
Damn.
See, Milwaukee Facebook Marketplace is definitely like
Yeah.
it's just a funny place, but like, man, an 18-foot snake though.
Yeah.
Like,
that was a force.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people just message me on Depop saying, like, I get people hitting on me on Depop every once in a while. Oh man, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've had some people call me ugly on Depop. There was this one guy
No
that
way.
one guy was like, yo, the faces you make in your pictures are really stupid and it makes me not want to buy your clothes. Oh man, that was fun. That was fun. The hate doesn't get to me at all. I just think that shit's funny.
Yeah.
I had one guy message me. It's like, how much for all of your t-shirts? And I was like, oh my God. You sure? And it's like, yeah. He was like, yeah, it's for like a school project. And I was like, you don't get this for a fucking school project. But I was like, 500 for all. He didn't hit me back.
That's how so many people are like, "How much for all?" And they'll never.
Yeah.
Or they'll offer you like a quarter of the number. I'm
dude,
like, really,
don't
bro?
even
Like,
get me started.
Bro, everyone
people.
flakes on deals on
everything.
Depop.
It's
on
always
everything.
it's always the ones who are like trying to cash out and spend all this much.
Yeah.
Like, and then
Oh my
they
God. If
never hit
someone's
you
ever
back.
like sends you an offer and they're like, all right, sick. Can you hold that for me? I'll buy Friday.
No.
I don't think I've ever had a guy ask me to hold something and then actually buy it.
I make people put money down.
Genius.
See, because that's like
and then when
decent.
they flake, I keep their money. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like, that's on them. Like,
That's what you
Yeah.
got to do. Cause
some people put down. Like, I've had people put down $100 that have flaked, and they don't even hit me for their money. They just
that's profit.
and I'm
That's
like,
profit.
okay, like that's fine. Like,
that's actually a profit without selling the shoe.
That's passive income, baby.
Passive income.
Passive income. No,
but
easily.
nah, I usually like say like, people are like, "Can you hold them for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, just send me $20. Like, send me $30. I don't know. Like, people are willing to do it too.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of my people are like, I've gone to a point where like my rep is so strong that people send full payments and I'll give this a shoe like next week. Like, they don't care. Like, that random people who've never done business will just send the money now. So
Really?
it's nice like that people are just willing to pay up front, because then I don't have to worry about flakes as much. So
The
Yeah.
flakes and the.
Yeah.
you
I
know,
don't think
the-
I've ever once held an item for a customer. They're like, yo,
Yeah.
could you hold this item until Friday for me? I'm like, sure. I don't put anything down and then it'll sell. And they're like, bro, what happened to the item? And it's like, shit, what are you gonna do about it,
Exactly.
huh?
That's
What are
the
you
thing.
gonna do?
It's
I
like-
don't know.
If someone's like, yo, like put this down for me, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna put it down for you. But like, if someone else is gonna give me that money and this shit, then that's all them. Like,
Yeah.
the down payment thing kind of smart though, because you get in a little
That is
benefit
smart.
from that. Like,
And if they flake, that's
Yeah.
like, I had a girl one time who sent me. I literally posted, down payments are non-refundable. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't think you're serious, don't pay. Whatever. I'm not gonna hold them for you. This girl puts down like $40, and she's like, okay, can I get them in 3 days? And I was like, sure. The next day, she's like, I don't want them anymore. I'm like, okay, well, down payments are like non-refundable. Like,
yeah,
and she goes on the dude. She was hounding, and then all of a sudden, I get a message from this random ass grown man on Facebook, and it's her dad.
Oh God.
And it's like, bro, I'm not gonna trip over $40. You can have it back, but like,
Yeah.
bro, just respect the business. Like,
Yeah.
no, for real.
No,
I don't know.
Yeah, I have all sales are final in my Depop
Yeah,
bio, and I
you
still
gotta.
get people like hounding me, like, bro, it doesn't fit. It's like, that's fucking. You could have asked me for the measurements.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
have given them to you, but you
No,
could have
for real.
asked, dude.
As a-
I never fucking send people measurements ever. I'm so bad at this job.
I've shopped on Depop before, and that's happened to me, and it's shitty. But I'm like, damn, I should have asked for measurements.
Yeah.
But it's on the buyer at the end of the day. Like, if they
Yeah,
don't know
for
if they're
sure.
buying,
Ask for
that's on them.
measurements. You
Yeah.
know your measurements. It's so
If you don't ask
important.
questions, that's on you. Like,
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
fact. Yeah, I will say though, I really do hate when people bring their parents up in this shit.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
It's
Dude,
like-
he was like,
it's like,
he's like,
look,
we're gonna file charges like for
Oh,
you running an illegal business.
God.
And I'm like,
It's
I
like
pay
what you
taxes on my
mean.
business if
Yeah.
you think it's illegal. Like,
There
my
you
shit's,
go.
I have an LLC. Like,
There you fucking go.
can't-
Yeah.
You can't.
like, what are you
can't
trying to
even
do?
be
Same.
about that.
Same.
I don't know.
LLC can't
J-Day's
be
Vintage
bro.
LLC.
but at the same
Don't
time,
even
it's
know.
like, I'm not gonna trip over a little amount. So
No, I feel you.
it's like whatever. But it was annoying for sure.
See, if it's like there's hella stories of like, someone's scamming, and then you bring the parent involved in
Oh
that.
my
It's like,
God.
that's like.
Do you remember,
Okay, bro. Like.
what was the name of the store on the south side that Jackson used
Oh,
to-
got your size.
Got Your Size.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
dude. See, man. Speaking of, I think she had that storefront there, right? And
by
I
the
think
hospital.
yeah, by the
Yeah.
hospital. And I think someone was gonna like buy it and like, I think have another storefront there, but then shit never went through, I guess.
I mean, it wasn't even that good of a location. Like, it was central, but it wasn't like, I don't know how
It was
they-
weird.
Yeah,
it was a
weird.
weird area
Mhm.
because like where Fortune Supply is, which is like a vintage, little store
Okay.
going that just opened. Like at least they're a little by like the National Ave DIY skate park and like a little more where people are. Like that place,
Mm-hmm.
like I went in there like a couple times. Like I used to chill with Jackson there and all that, and yeah, there weren't that many customers. You know, what I mean,
was
it wasn't
just
that much
weird.
traffic.
Yeah.
It was just like a little like shit. This isn't in the middle of a neighborhood like area where at least like Trusted or something like that has more traffic. You know.
I feel like now more than ever, there are just like so many depressing sneaker stores now.
Yeah, it's just
So many people are like,
man,
bro, we
dude.
should get a storefront. And then it's just, oh man,
know.
I just feel bad for them.
It's like, well, here's the thing. It's like you have probably as much inventory as Got Your Size did, and you don't have a storefront.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where it's like a storefront, really all that does it only works if you have that reputation and that recognition. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean like, oh, people just gonna come to you. Like you got to build that shit. So it's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
and even like you could fucking own like run a fucking.
If you ever
vintage
see a
storefront,
J-Days
but,
vintage
like,
storefront, punch me in the fucking
but that's not
face,
gonna
you
happen.
dumbass.
That's not gonna happen because everyone's running the inventory like in house and shit.
Yeah.
I
That's
feel
not
like a store is a lot of work. Like,
Oh my god.
hey,
so
it's
much
worth
work.
it.
Yeah.
For if you have.
Oh, if
a
it's
shit ton
working,
of
if it's
inventory.
working, you're golden,
For
dog.
Yeah.
sure.
But it's a lot. I feel like.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. Last question I feel like we should talk about. Where do y'all think reselling's going like now? Like in the next year? Because
I
like
want to hear what you say about sneaker.
because
reselling,
like that's what I'm
that
saying.
shit's
Because like
changed so
Supreme
much.
like dead, but
Supreme
like you
dead.
you buy that if you want it, and like the actual Vineyard Vines wearing motherfuckers will buy that shit. It's
Bogos
right?
sell for $200 now. It's
Yeah,
depressing.
it's
Oh,
it is
man.
depressing.
Where did it go?
But like,
Dude, I remember
where
when,
did it? Man,
oh,
take
God.
me back.
Yeah.
but like, what would your point of view on like, sneakers be in about a year? Because like I didn't even know that. Like I honestly thought that shit died, but I see MSX now they upgrading their venue and shit.
Yeah.
So it's
What?
like
Oh my
yeah,
God.
like so it's like okay, there's still shit going here.
The amount of people who want shoes is like higher than ever, and it's gonna keep
Okay.
growing because of platforms like TikTok and Instagram, where people are
Yeah.
seeing their favorite influencers wearing Jordans and like, oh, where can I get those too? At the same time, like TikTok is condoning fakes like crazy.
Oh, like the
Oh,
rap
the
balls?
reps.
God.
They're like,
The
oh,
rap
look
balls.
it. I got these Ben and Jerry
Dude.
Ben and Jerry reps for 100.
It's so
like-
annoying
The rap
because
balls
like
are-
it's so annoying because like people actually like see hundreds of thousands of people condoning it on TikTok and like, okay, I can do it too, and it kind of ruins things. At the same time, like
Yeah.
so many people are like, okay, I'm just gonna like get a real, like they're against it too, so it doesn't really like have that much of an effect. But
I don't mind reps that much. I think you got to
I
be
don't-
transparent about it though.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
You gotta be
mind
transparent
reps unless
about
you're
it.
trying to flex that you have money or that they're real.
That's what I'm
like,
saying,
If you're trying to flex
yeah.
reps, then there's like that.
I
pisses
think
me
like
off.
if someone asks you like, oh, like dude, those are sick. You gotta like mention
Yeah.
that they're reps.
Oh,
You've
oh, they
got, there's
fit.
rules with reps.
And if you do that, that's fine. But if you're acting like they're real and you like are up as a bitch, like
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
bro on the camera right now, Joe got the feezies on.
He's
He
wearing
ain't-
fake-
He is
he's
not
wearing
out
fake-
No
here.
shame, though.
He is not out here saying they real. If you
$15.
got basically, I think what TikTok like says, pretty much you could sell the reps for more. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
people are willing to pay for fake shoes because they don't want to pay
Exactly.
quadruple the price. But if you're not willing to admit that you're wearing fake shoes, then I don't think
Yeah.
that it's not respectable.
I
don't
think it's like the concept of having reps is just like, oh, this is the fit, but it's like.
you gotta be transparent. Like
Yeah,
Jacob
you do.
said.
Yeah, you do have to. You
Mhm.
just got to be strapped. It's like, look, they fake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I feel like there's a lot more people trying to get into reselling because they realize that if you do it right, there's really good money involved. Like,
well, yeah, because
but at the same time, a lot of these people who start reselling are not consistent. At
No.
the same time, as much as there's way more buyers, there's way more sellers. So you have to continue being competitive and being better than other people to maintain clientele. Otherwise, you're just going to get swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Because everything's growing, everything's getting more popular. So you have to like keep up with it. Otherwise,
I mean, reselling, like, I think a huge part of it is literally consistency. Because, like, I could.
That's like anything with a business.
It was a
too.
business,
It's
yeah.
just consistency.
I'm super inconsistent. I'm not gonna lie. So like, I consign a lot of shoes at
Yeah.
Deadstock. I don't know if you know what that is in,
No,
in
yeah.
Franklin.
I haven't been there yet, but
It's
I've
really
known
nice.
about
They
it.
just
Yeah.
expanded. They just doubled their tripled the size of their store.
Damn.
I bet. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
So I don't like a lot of that. Like, is because I'm like I can be lazy, so I just drop a bunch of stuff there. They sell it for me. I go pick up a check every week. That's nice. Like I love that shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like searching stuff doesn't move as fast as if I were to post it. But so I've been trying to post more because I know people will buy it faster than it'll sell at Deadstock sometimes. Not always, but certain stuff moves faster
Yeah.
and for more. So
No,
I don't know.
you're right.
Consistency is key. You're right.
That's just it, because like I've just, for me, like seeing, you know, I started, you know, probably going bigger 2017, right? So like probably when it got in the fall there, like a lot of my customers became resellers because they saw the opportunity, but they
Yeah.
never like only a couple of them. I'd say like you and Jose.
You remember
were
when
like,
we met for those Legend Blues at Mayfair Mall
yeah,
in like
yeah,
2017?
right? Like
It's crazy.
for real. Like you and Jose definitely like actually kept it consistent and kept you two were probably the only people I know that actually like are.
Alex Straczynski.
Alex too, like, bro, y'all are bigger. Y'all got bigger than me. Like I was like, God damn.
Shout out to Jose though. Shout out to Jose and to Alex
But,
because they've been
yeah.
doing this shit for a long time too.
Exactly.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Continue. I'll remember it.
Yeah.
All right.
But I actually, Jacob, I wanted to ask you then, what do you think? Where do you think the vintage shit will go in a year? Because like TikTok is saturating the fuck out of everything, bro. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
100.
it
So,
is.
Like,
It's whack. It's whack. Okay. I think that, I mean, everybody and their fucking mom has a vintage reselling page, and I don't think it's going anywhere, but I think that the trends are going to be different. Right now, like Y2K is really big. I think there's always going to be a market for people like me and for people like Juna too, who get consistent shit in, and who, I mean, like people that like charge low prices, dudes like All Goods too, like this general vintage, who like don't upcharge that much, who have great personalities, consistent. People come back to them because they like them. There's not gonna be a big trend of like really big upcharging on like Y2K shit and like double knees because that shit's trendy. But I feel like pages are popping up that are going on to those like certain trends and are thinking that that's going to be what's going to sustain them for a long time, and it's not, because that shit's going to go out of style eventually. I think there's always going to be a market for vintage, but what's popular now and what people are able to upcharge with now is going to consistently change and shit like that. And so guys like Unsound Rags, I love them so much. Well, no, actually, no. Fuck Unsound Rags. I like what they do. But like, they're not gonna be able to survive for much longer. I mean, hopefully they do, because I like the people there. But I mean, hopefully like people aren't just gonna keep copying them and thinking that that's how they're gonna be able to upcharge. Shops like those, oh my god, Y2K, Vivian Westwood, Jean-Paul Gaultier, give me all your parents' money, I'm a Parsons student. Hopefully those guys get the fuck out of here. They all annoy me. They all scare me. So hopefully the trends change a little bit just to sort of even out the markets and make this shit a little more affordable, because I hate seeing people overpay for vintage just because it sort of shits on the whole idea of it. Overpaying for vintage is stupid because
It ruins the point of vintage.
Yeah,
it ruins the point of vintage. But also, like, I see the appeal of like buying like a very beautiful vintage garment. I see the appeal, but if you are like overpaying for like a random vintage t-shirt, what's the fucking point? What's the point? You can find that anywhere else for cheaper. You can find that at a local thrift. You can find a different seller who's going to sell it to you for cheaper. It's very easy to find steals with vintage, and I want that to get more popular. I want the specific accounts. I want vintage to be like more general so that people can find the same love in it that I have, you know? I don't want it to be hype anymore.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the appeal of it is that it's cheap. And now it's not cheap. And it's sort of
cheap,
ruined
cool,
it.
unique. Like you can't find a vintage piece like any other kind of whatever
Exactly.
kind of thrift. Yeah. No, you're right. Man. All right. Well, I think that will conclude this 1420 podcast. Want to thank our guests for coming on today. You know, good talk, and you know, we'll see y'all soon on the next 1420 podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.
Yep.